Welcome to a special episode of HYBIZ News. My name is Suresh Kochatal. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the 20 lakh crore package to address the concerns of different sectors of the Indian economy, there was a sense of relief all around. The package, or what one would call the stimulus, was more in line with most of what the developed countries had announced and amounted to 10% of our gross domestic product. At the end of his address to the nation, Prime Minister Modi left it to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to announce the details, which he said will happen over the next few days. We asked a few entrepreneurs and management experts about the expectations from what the Finance Minister would announce over the next few days, starting Wednesday. To start with, we have Sanjay Kapoor, who had a long corporate career, including the stint with L&T Metro Rail in Hyderabad, a former Secretary General of FAPSI and is the President-elect of Hyderabad Management Association. He is presently a business consultant to Fortune 200 companies. Welcome to the show, Sanjay. And let me ask you this very simple question, I guess, as to what are your expectations from the announcement made by the Prime Minister, because now Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has to kind of break it down and tell the people of the country what she is going to do, specifically in bringing relief to the lakhs and millions of people and companies across the country.
Package announced by Honorable Prime Minister of 2 lakh crore is something which is more than expected, and I think in the right direction. I feel that the 20 lakh crore need to be spent or allocated towards number one, the small scale industries and the medium scale industries, and see that how they can be revived using a part of this package. Number two, while a lot of things has been announced in the past and many NGOs apart from the government has come forward to help the migrant laborers, but I want to see something specific for migrant laborers and people from the unorganized sectors, which constitutes almost about 40-45 crores of Indian population. And third, and not the least, is for the middle class people, and specifically for people who are earning less than 10 lakhs rupees a year. I will request if some amount of money from the income tax which they have been paying over the years is transferred back to their account.
Sanjay, thank you very much for your views, and I'm sure we will hear a lot of similar things to what you said should happen in the kind of details that are supposed to come out in the Finance Minister's press conferences that will follow over the next few days. Thank you very much. Next, we have an audio connect with BP Padala, Chairman, Roots Collegium, a group of educational institutions based out of Hyderabad. Mr. Padala is an engineer by profession and has some strong views on this subject of how the union government should help people till the last person in the village. Let's listen to him, and let me at the outset ask him the question. Mr. Padala, can you tell us where do you think this amount should go? What part of amount should go where? Where should the stress be on spending this amount to ensure that we come out victorious out of this particular pandemic?
To be honest, I am pleasantly surprised by the humongous magnitude of the package, that is almost 10% of the GDP. Yes, the crux of the issue is that it depends on where exactly the money should go. So, in my view, the bulk of the money should go to agriculture segment, MSME segment, like micro, small and medium industries, where the bulk of the employment is generated. The big companies might settle down to adjust to the new realities because they have a lot of buffer reserves with them. But when it comes to micro, small and medium industries, most of the employers have been struggling to keep afloat in these COVID times, and the post-COVID lockdown, the situation would become more grim. If it helps a lot if they can put their money on this SME segment as well as agriculture, so that the bulk of the GDP would be covered, and the employment generation also would not be suffered as we fear.
Thank you, Mr. Padala, for that view of yours in terms of where the money should go. Now, one main question that often happens when you have this kind of huge monies being given out. We've seen in the past that when the money was given to the agriculture sector, politicians went out of the way despite farmers being ready to pay back and wanted the loans to be waived off. Naturally, this money belongs to somebody. It belongs to the taxpayer. But then politicians do it. Same with micro, small and medium enterprises, because they need all the help they can get. But are we expecting a culture to ensure that they pay back in time, be it the agriculture sector, be it the SME sector, or be it anybody for that matter, right up to the Vijay Malayas and the Nirav Modis of the world? So how do you look at getting this money back to ensure that whatever money is being given by the government to kind of kickstart this industry from a state that it is in today will come back to the banks? Because that will be the moot question.
I don't think giving away would solve the problem. One angle we can look at is that they can lend the money with either interest free or with the minimum possible interest to the MSB segment with a lot of flexibility to repay that loan. As well as agriculture is concerned, they can invest in kind of mitigating the farmers' problem and procuring the grains with a minimum with a support price could help them to sell their product, and I know that the self-reliance in the food grains goes a long way to support the country on its feet. And when it comes to SME segment, again, lending is one part, and other part is reforming the labor act, reforming the labor laws, and also getting the FDI from foreign shore by making them a little bit more easy. So Make in India was ideal, but I think that it was on the it did not take off much from the ground when PM announced that. Maybe now is the right time to give them a life again to attract foreign funding and maybe to attract some industries from China.
Yes, Mr. Padala, that's correct. So the next question that would come in is, we have a lot of business that is expected to move out of China post the COVID. Whether that will happen or not remains to be seen. But one needs to be prepared for a deluge if it happens. The problem with countries like India is that our labor laws are very old and archaic. We need to have laws that are incommensurate with the modern times. But that is not happening. Luckily, we have 2 or 3 states which are now jumped into action. For example, Uttar Pradesh, where Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has scrapped almost all the laws, I think, except 3. The same is the case with Madhya Pradesh, which has kind of tinkered with the laws. But in your opinion, is that all that is needed to bring the flood of companies that are expected to exit China and come to India and not go to Vietnam or Thailand? What's your take on that?
I don't know whether it will happen in India or not, but still our labor laws are archaic, and our land procurement is also very cumbersome compared to China and other East Asian countries. Because if a company comes and wants to set up an industry where even to widen the road and to build a bridge, also taking years and years just to procure a piece of land. So unless until we reform land laws as well as the labor laws to be flexible and to be market full, I think the make in India may not be we may not be realized that big way.
Yes, Mr. Padala, that's for sure. We need to have more flexible laws, including land acquisition, as you rightly said. Thank you very much for speaking to us at HYBIZ News. As usual, it's been a pleasure interacting with you. Ladies and gentlemen, our third guest on the show today is Vishal. Vishal is running Symbiont Smart Spaces, a managed office space business in Hyderabad, and is an entrepreneur in his own right. So let's listen to what Vishal has to say. And my question obviously to him is, what are your impressions, Vishal, about this announcement made by the Prime Minister, and how do you think it will finally percolate down to the masses?
20 lakh crore economic package announced by our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi is a move towards self-reliance, Atmanirbharta. The route he has suggested is via increasing liquidity, using land reforms, labor reforms and law reforms. The package has the ability to be a game changer and to encourage a quantum leap of economic activity. However, the package should be used properly.
Thank you, Vishal, for that short comment of yours. I think it's relevant. One needs to understand from an entrepreneur's perspective how things work. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all wait for Nirmala Sitharaman ji to announce the first of the stimulus packages, you heard a few views of the expectations from a cross section of the society. Whether that happens or not is your guess as good as mine. Thank you for watching HYBIZ News.